So, people wear fragrances for a various amount of reasons. Me, I wear them because I like to smell good and I like compliments. So, if you're interested in what some of my most over-the-top compliments from fragrances have been and what those fragrances are that got those compliments, meet me on the other side of this intro. And well, I'm gonna tell you all about them. Hey, I'll see you in just a second. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It is your boy, Trey 6. And we got a little bit of a video, a little bit of a discussion. You know how we do it here on the channel. Before we even get started on this video, give yourself a round of applause for helping your boy get to 2,800 subs. We are vastly approaching 3,000. Can't wait to get there. Thank you. Appreciate everything. And after that, please consider giving your boy a like, a share, and a sub. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into this video. You ready? Compliments. Compliments. That's one of the reasons that a lot of us wear fragrances, so we can get compliments. So I managed to find 10 of my most complimented fragrances throughout the years. And it's not just, oh, you smell good. It normally entails a little bit more than that. I'll tell you about it as I get into the fragrance. Bear with me. This is going to be a long one. I'll move as swiftly as I can. Let's go. The first one from the house of Happy Land Studios, E.J. Wells, Blue Fire. The first over-the-top compliment I got with this one, because it was two. I went to the hospital to see my mom, and I'm bad about remembering room numbers and phone numbers or any of that. So I stopped at the desk and I said, you know, which room is Miss Belafonte in? And before the lady could say anything, she was like, oh my God, you smell so good. What is that you're wearing? So I tell her it's Blue Fire by Happy Land Studios. Happy Land Studios, and the conversation tells, and she tells me what room mom is in, and then she's like, she turns to the girl that's next to her and was like, he smells so good, and I told him. That's compliment number one that I felt was a little extra. Compliment number two from this particular fragrance, and that is Happy Land Studios Blue Fire. I was at a hotel one time. I stayed a couple of days, and I had passed this particular cleaning lady several times during my stay, and we just happened to be on the elevator together this one particular day, and she's just staring at me. And then she was like, and I was like, hey, how are you? And she's like, I'm good. She's like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to stare, but your eyes are so pretty, which, you know, I get that a lot, so whatever. It is what it is. And then she was like, and that cologne that you wear, what is that? And I was like, you know, it's a cologne called Blue Fire from Happy Land Studios. And she was like, that smells so good. I can always tell when you come down the hall because you can just smell it. Blue Fire, Happy Land Studios. This is one of those that it just works. It just works. It's a aquatic gourmand type of scent. Nice little mix of the two. It's not overly aquatic. It's not overly gourmandy, but I will tell you this stuff is strong. It stays on all day, 3 or 4 squirts of that, and that's all you need. All right, keeping it moving. The next one, they got me unsolicited compliments, and I felt was a little extra, a little more than just you smell nice, and it is from the house of Montblanc, and it is Montblanc Legend Spirit, and it is Montblanc if you fancy, but I'm not, I'm country, so it is Montblanc. This one, I'm at the doctor's office, and I'm getting ready to check out, remake my appointment, and I walk by 2 ladies. One's a nurse and another one is a patient. And this is at a time we're still heavily masked up. So I walk by the 2 ladies, and one of them stops and looks at the other one and goes, oh my God, he smells so good. She's like, excuse me, sir. And I was like, yes, ma'am. You smell so good. What is that? So I can get my husband some of that. And I told him, it was like, Montblanc Legend Spirit. And it was, you know, both raving about, "Ooh, it smells so good. I got to get my husband some of that." Girl, I just had to tell him he smelled good. And about this time, of course, I'm chuckling, turning all red in the face or whatever. It's just like, whatever. So I leave there. Same day, I leave the doctor's office because my doctor's appointment that day was in Huntsville, Alabama, where my Burlington is. So I leave the doctor's office and go across town to Burlington to do a little shopping. I found something, I can't even remember what fragrance I bought that particular day, but I go to check out. And the lady checking me out goes, "Ooh, you smell so good. What is that? That smells so nice. I need to tell my brother-in-law about that. He think he know fragrances too. What is that you wearing?" And I told her, Montblanc Legend Spirit. So that was 2 unsolicited fragrance, 2 unsolicited compliments on my scent. Within, I'll say, man, maybe 25 minutes of each other, maybe 30 minutes, just boom, boom, back to back, from one stop to the next. And that was Montblanc Legend Spirit. It does have a little bit of an Invictus-y type of vibe, but I think it smells pretty good. I mean, as a matter of fact, I like it a little bit better than I do Invictus. Montblanc Legend Spirit. That's a great one. This next one is from the house of Sensual Obsessions, and it is Gourmand, Gourmand Delight. And every time I wear this fragrance, I end up having to message Kevin and tell him. The last time we talked about this one, I told him, I said, "Kev, you need to change the name of this from Gourmand Delight to Home Wrecker." This is a home wrecker, true story. I'm at work. Young lady I've known for years, because we went to school together. She was a few classes ahead of me in school. Comes through my line. So I'm checking her out, ringing up her groceries, and she's like, "Somebody smell good." Then she looked at me like it couldn't possibly be me. And I'm thinking, do you not know who I am? And then she like, "Is that you in here smelling like that?" Ooh. And she got to touch it on her neck, like, ooh. And then she growled at me. She gave me one of these, rawr, talking about some, "Is that you in here smelling like this?" And then I guess the Belafonte in me came out, because I was like, well, ain't nobody else standing here but me and you. At this point, I'm offended. What you mean is that me in here smelling? Who else would it be? I'm known for this, internationally known. I am the Jeffro Bodine of fragrances. I'm known for this. Known for smelling good. But Gourmand Delight. Recently wore this because we had a little bit of a cool spell before it heated back up. We had a little bit of a cool spell. So I was like, and I got, I call it obedience school. They made me come work a couple of day shifts because we had some people out. So I had to come work a day shift. And I wore this one day to work. And one of the younger female cashiers came in and walked by. She was like, "Trey." And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Ooh, you smell good. That smells so good. That cologne you have on, it smells like funnel cakes." I told you it was Gourmand Delight. I just laughed. I was like, "It smells like funnel cakes," but whatever. The thing about it is, it was 6 hours in at this point. I think I sprayed it on at like 9 o'clock that morning, and this was at like 1:30, 2 o'clock when I'm getting ready to leave. Sensual Obsessions, Gourmand Delight. You guys need to hit Kevin up on Facebook or go to sensualobsessions.com. Just Google Sensual Obsessions. My advice to you is hit him up on Facebook if you have Facebook and tell him, "I want some of that Gourmand Delight." Trey was talking about it. It's going to make them women growl at you. I promise, man. It's going to. Speaking of growling, this next one is from the house of Jimmy Choo. And it is Jimmy Choo Man Blue. And I like this one. This one is a blue, aquatic, creamy, woody type of scent. I really, really liked it. I don't know why I said aquatic. I guess because I still had I said blue and it made me think of EJ West Blue Fire. But this is not aquatic. It is creamy, woody, very seductive, sexy type of fragrance here. Had this on one day, went in a gas station, and it was 2 old biddies working in there, 2 old biddies. Biddy 1, I come up to the register, put my stuff down, get ready to pay for it. Biddy 1 starts going crazy. "Oh my God. Whew. You smell amazing. Oh my God, is that an oil? That smells like an oil." And I was like, "I'm impressed that you know what oils are." "Yes, I love the oils." "Is that an oil?" I said, "No, ma'am, it's not an oil." "That smells so good." "Oh, come here." Betty number 2 comes over there. "You got to smell him." So Betty number one looks at, oh, he smells so good. Betty number two goes, you smell delicious. Well, I paid for my stuff and got up out of there so fast. Them cougars was growling that day. They didn't growl, but they was at it. That particular fragrance was Jimmy Choo Man Blue. That is a really good smelling fragrance. Nice, creamy, woody, easy to wear. Absolutely love that fragrance. Jimmy Choo Man Blue. All right, where do I go from here? This next one. Old Faithful. Joop or Joop. Now, notice the color on this juice. I don't have much of it left, but it's a little bit darker than the newer formulations of Joop. Now, the newer formulations of Joop still kick. They still rock. It's still a rock star. I wore this out one night. One of the last times I went to a club, I had forgotten that they had went smoke free. So, you know, me thinking, I need something that's going to cut through the smoke and make me, you know, something heavy, something that's going to stay on. So I wore Joop. I'm standing there talking to some guys I know, yada, 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 woo, woo, woo. I've been cool, you know, chopping it up. This young lady walks by. Now, mind you, she's a good 10 feet away from me, maybe more. Now, let's double it. I'm going to say, honestly, she was a good 15, maybe closer to 20 feet away from me. Good little distance away from me. She walks by, and I noticed that when she walks by, she's kind of, because she was an attractive girl, you know, I noticed her. She comes back by, you know, and again, I'm steady talking. She walks by again, and she stops, and she says, and she's sniffing, and she's looking around. She says, somebody has on Joop. She didn't say somebody smells good, somebody smells nice. She said, somebody has on Joop. I didn't say nothing because I'm in the middle of a conversation, so I keep it moving. And she goes, and she walks off. Okay, and of course she comes back by, and you know, she's sniffing and just, it's like it's really throwing her off. So she goes back by again, and she stops again, and she's like, somebody has on Joop. And I promise you, it was like a scene out of a horror movie. You know how and when you're watching a horror movie and the villain spots the guy that's playing dead, and he's like, and he stops dead in his tracks and looks at him. That's what it was. She was walking by, she stopped, and she said, somebody's wearing Joop. And she looked at him and she said, it's you. And I was like, yeah, it's me. And then she was like, you smell so good. So this one to me is a great hoodie scent. This is a fragrance to me, in my opinion, that you wear when you get that call. When you get the, hey, come watch a movie with me, you know, or the hey, big head text, or whatever it is. When you get that green light, don't overspray. Hit your undershirt, hit your hoodie, maybe your sweats, and go. Hit your stepdaddy gear, because you know, you gotta go play stepdaddy when it get cold. Hit your stepdaddy gear, keep it light, 2-3 sprays of this, and that's all you need, and you're good. You are good. But I felt like that was an over-the-top compliment, so Joop made the cut, man. And I know that's one that people are afraid of nowadays because it smells dated. And again, this, now, mind you, this was about 10 years ago, but in all fairness, this young lady would have been in between the ages, because I was mid-30s, she was probably in the mid-20s to late 20s. So I mean, fairly young lady, and very nice looking. So don't be afraid to wear Joop thinking that you're going to offend the opposite sex, because that's just not the case. I've gotten multiple compliments with Joop. Okay, where do I go from here? Okay, let's go here. So on a date, little audition, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't really a date though. It was just, whatever. It wasn't a date. YSL's L'Homme Intense. And I dressed down this particular day. It was a little cool, and we were going to a movie. Late movie at that, so I knew it was going to be cool. I think the movie started at like 10 o'clock. And it was a horror movie. I don't even remember what we went to see. But I had on some warm clothes because, you know, I knew it was going to be cold in the movie theater. So from the time I got in the car to the time we got to the movie theater to the time we got back, it was compliments. Oh my God, that fragrance you have on, what is that? That smells so good. YSL's L'Homme Intense. To the point where the next 2 or 3 days, well, the next time we talked, which was 2 or 3 days later, she brought it up again. Because I think I said something about looking for fragrances, something about a fragrance. And she was like, whatever you had on the other day at the movies smelled amazing. YSL's L'Homme Intense. And this one, the thing I like about YSL fragrances is this. They're inexpensive enough that you can dress them down, but they smell good enough that you can dress them up. Very, very versatile. They are not the cheapest fragrances. Now, I got this one when Ulta was running a ridiculous sale. I paid $28 out the door for this 100 ml, and I think the 50 ml was 20. So I picked up 2 in Tupelo, Mississippi, 100 ml and 150 ml, and then went to Decatur, Alabama, and picked up another 100 ml so that I could have one. Cheapo got one, JP got one, but nonetheless, it is what it is. YSL's L'Homme Intense. That is a compliment getter. It's just a sexy fragrance. It just is. Where am I at? Oh, this one. This is an old school classic, but it's a goodie. Very soapy, nice smelling, soapy, sweet fragrance. And it is Wings for Men. Now, I wore this one way back in the 90s, and this compliment came from the 90s. I think it was like 98, 99, fresh out of high school, a young Trey Sense. I worked at this plant and worked second shift. If you've ever worked in a plant in the Southeast, you know, especially in the 90s, it was feast or famine. You may be working 70 hours a week one week and 20 hours during the slow season. But anyway, long story short, I had to go get my check because we just happened to be off this particular Friday. Payday was Friday, so I had to go get my check. My payday was actually Thursday, but we had to pick up our checks Friday, whatever. So I have this on. So I go in the office, I go in the plant to get my check, and I go in the office part of the plant to get my check, and you know, they knew who I was. I mean, that's just the way it was. So she's, let me go get your check. I walk in, she's like, she stops dead in her tracks. She's, oh my God, what kind of cologne is that you're wearing? It smells so good. And this is why I tell people all the time, it's about that sillage, it's about that scent trail. That's where you get them. You have to put cologne on your skin to understand how it's gonna work. Spraying it in the air, spraying it on a test strip, does nothing. You have to put it on your skin, let it work with your body, let it do its magic. Evidently, this was pumping off of my skin, and it caught her attention to the point where she was like, let me go get your check. So she goes and gets my check, and she hollers at one of the other ladies in the back of the office like, oh, you gotta come out here and smell him. He smells so good. Fragrance I had on, Wings for Men. Simple. It was cheap back then. It's still cheap now. Everything that you're gonna get from Giorgio Beverly Hills is super, super potent. All of his fragrances are really, really strong, and this one is no exception. Like I said, a sweet, powdery type of fragrance. It's so cheap, you can wear it however you want to. Whenever you want to, however you want to. It's whatever. I think that day I had on a nice polo shirt and some jeans. Wasn't nothing over the top, but it wasn't slouchy, because I don't go nowhere looking slouchy, but still, that's another story for another day. Okay, I think I've got 3 more. This next one is no stranger to compliments. Everybody knows it. It's a compliment getter. It's a compliment puller. And it's from the house of Armaf. And it is Club de Nuit Man Intense, or Intense Man. Yes, it's an Aventus clone. Don't buy it for an Aventus clone. Buy it for a good smelling fragrance. I'm walking in the Dollar Tree, and because I live a frugal lifestyle, so I can spend money on what I want to spend it on. So I'm walking in the Dollar Tree, and a young lady had walked past me. And when she walked, when somebody gets a whiff of your cologne, because you get that, you know what I'm saying? So she walked past me, and she was like, oh. So she stops and holds the door open for me, and then she's like, sir, what cologne is that you're wearing? And I told her what it was, and she was like, well, whatever it is, that smells really, really good. She said, I'm sorry. She said, that's probably rude of me to say. I was like, no, ma'am. It's not rude of you at all. And of course, my head was big, so I got in the car. I had to message JP and was like, Jay, man, that Club de Nuit Man Intense is getting them. Got to work, And again, it's one of those fragrances that you're just gonna get compliments when you wear it. And I hate to say that because I don't want you to buy it and go out and then just be like, well, I wore it and I didn't get any compliments. I'm pretty sure that all of these fragrances will get you compliments. But if somebody doesn't say that you smell good, it doesn't mean that you don't. These are just ones that I've worn, like I said, from 25, 30 years ago to 3 weeks ago that have gotten me numerous compliments. And this is one of them. And what I mean by the compliments, I'm sorry. Again, it's more than just, well, you smell good. They normally entail a conversation. All right, keep it moving. This next one, again, it was many, many moons ago, and this is one of my favorite fragrances of all times. It's been a lot of sunsets since this compliment happened. I want to say it may have been, it was in the 2000s. And the fragrance is called Del Mar, and it's by Baldessarini or Baldessarini, whichever way you pronounce it, which is a subsidiary company of Hugo Boss. Now, I first got on this whole Baldessarini train when I was in Texas many years ago with my cousins, Tracy. He wore one, I want to say it was the signature or the per home. It was just Baldessarini. I liked it, and then when I saw this one, I picked it up, and I was picking these up for $10 at TJ Maxx in the bargain bin. Now, what you get with this one is a slightly spicy, aquatic, woody type of fragrance, and this is one of my best smelling fragrances. As a matter of fact, I emptied a bottle of this one time. It smells so good, at least to me, or at least on me. The chick I was dating with at the time kept the empty bottle in her nightstand drawer, and she would smell it. But I was at the DG one year during Christmas holidays. It was Christmas Eve. That's when I used to do all my Christmas shopping. And I walked by a young lady, and she, again, about had to come apart. It was, I mean, she was stocking the shelf, and it was, oh my gosh. And I stopped, and I was just like, okay, like, because it made me a little bit nervous. She's like, what are you wearing? And I told her, she's like, oh my God, that smells so good. And again, it's one of them situations where she's like, girl, come here. You have got to smell his cologne. And they standing there just sniffing. And I'm just like, okay. You know, but you can't help but giggle when it happens. And I'm just like, okay. The fragrance I had on that day is Del Mar. I'll give you another little cheapie. Back when I was married, I had fixed my wife's lunch, and I would always put little notes in her lunchbox, you know, like have a great day, or battery's going dead, like have a great day or whatever. So if I write a note, of course I spray cologne on it, but you know me, I'm not spraying my good cologne on that. So I wrote her a note, and in the lunchbox, I put it in the lunchbox, and I sprayed Chrome on it, Chrome, just Azzaro's Chrome. She got to work a few hours later. She texted me. She was like, you got all these women up here acting stupid. I'm like, what is it? She's like, I found your note and I took it out of my lunchbox. She was like, she's like, I kept smelling you and I didn't know where it was coming from. And I was just like, okay. She was like, them heifers had the note, rubbing it on they scrubs and everything, trying to get the scent of that note on their clothes. And it was just simply Chrome. Just saying, so you never know what is going to get compliments and what's going to attract people. All right, last one from the house of Dolce and Gabbana. It is the one EDP. This one, going to my eye doctor. And this particular young lady, just about every time I come in, makes a comment about how nice I smell. But this particular day, and it was cold, I think I had on a hoodie. I know I had on a hoodie. So I go in, you know, they call me back. I go over and sit where I'm supposed to sit. And she's like the doctor's assistant or whatever. So she takes me back, check my eyes, ask all these stupid questions, you know, yada, yada, woo, woo, woo. She sits down on a little stool and I'm in my chair and she's like, oh my God, what are you wearing? That smells so good. And I always get this from women. You need to tell me what that is so I can get my so-and-so some. I want to get my so-and-so some. I want to get my fiance some of that. And then the conversation continues about fragrances. What did you tell me you was wearing the last time? Which was, man, batteries depleting flask, which the time before that when I had on YSL's La Nuit de L'Homme, and she complimented me on that. So she asked me about that one. Which one did you have on last time? And I told her. And what's this one you got on? And I told her. And then she was like, man, I wish everybody came in here smelling as good as you. And I was just like, yeah. Well, I'm doing my part to make everybody smell good, but not everybody gets it. But the particular fragrance that she went crazy over and started that conversation was Dolce & Gabbana's The One, EDP. All right, guys, that is it. Yeah, that's it. That's all of them. 10 fragrances from my collection that have gotten me the most over-the-top compliments throughout the years. Now, like I said, I've worn several that have gotten me compliments. Last week, I go to the doctor a lot, right? I went to the doctor and I had on Givenchy's Gentleman Only, Givenchy Gentleman Boise Parfum. Once again, young lady was like, I mean, as soon as I was in the room, she walked into the room and it was instant. Oh, you smell nice. What is that? And at first I jokingly was like, I'm not gonna tell you what it is. And she's like, you need to tell me so I can get some of that for my husband. And this was her comment. That's just gonna linger. That's what you want. That's what you want. When you come down through there, man, you just leave that behind you when you're gone. You know, that's kind of sexy, guys. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, that's another free one for you. But man, thank y'all for being the best part of this channel. And I hope you enjoyed this type of content, this type of video. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here. Let's cross our fingers that our audio is working properly, because I've been having some issues. If not, I'll just reshoot the video. But anyway, thank you all for returning to the scene of the crime, man. You know, I greatly appreciate it, and I love you all. Until next time, may God bless you all, and I love you all. Peace.